Let me ask you something straight out of the gate. Do you want her to love you or do you want her to respect you? Because here's the hard truth. If you ever have to choose, you better choose respect or you'll lose both. Most guys spend their entire relationships trying to keep a woman happy at all costs, thinking that if she's never upset, she'll love them more. That's a lie. That's the lie that kills attraction, drains desire, and leaves you wondering why she's suddenly cold and distant. A woman can only truly love a man she respects, and respect isn't built by giving her everything she wants. It's built when you're willing to risk her getting upset to stand on your principles. And that, my friend, is what I mean when I say you have to break her. Not break her spirit, not crush her personality, but break the illusion that she can control you with emotion. Every man will face this moment. She'll test you. Maybe she'll push your buttons in public. Maybe she'll withdraw affection to see if you'll chase. Maybe she'll throw out an ultimatum just to see if you'll fold. And in that moment, you're either the man who stands his ground, or you're the man who compromises everything to keep the peace. You think you're avoiding a fight, but what you're really doing is telling her you can be bought with comfort. You're showing her you're not strong enough to lead. And here's the psychological truth. Women test men not because they're cruel, but because they need to know they're safe in your strength. If you crumble under pressure, if you bend to her emotional storms, she knows you can't protect her from the real storms life will throw at you. Respect dies, attraction dies, and eventually the relationship dies. But when you pass the test, when you calmly, firmly, and unapologetically hold your line, you break the illusion. You show her that her emotions do not dictate your actions, that your love is steady, not fragile, that you are unshakable. And something shifts. She might not smile right away. In fact, she might be mad in the moment. But deep down, something in her relaxes because she finally feels what she's been searching for all along. A man who cannot be moved off center. I've seen guys in relationships for years who never set boundaries. They think being easygoing is the same as being strong. It's not. Easygoing is just code for I avoid conflict because I'm afraid to lose you. And here's the tragic irony. You end up losing her anyway. The man she respects is the man who can look her dead in the eye and say, I love you, but I'm not tolerating that, and then back it up with action. That's when attraction skyrockets. That's when trust deepens. Because she knows you're not there just for comfort. You're there to lead. This is why you can't play it safe in love. Playing it safe kills passion. Real love requires courage. It requires the strength to risk her short-term anger for long-term respect. That's the trade-off weak men aren't willing to make. But the men who are, those are the men women never forget. So here's the bottom line. If you're not willing to break the part of her that thinks she can sway you with emotion, you will never experience the deepest love she's capable of giving. She will only love you fully when she knows she cannot bend you. That's not cruelty, that's leadership. And leadership in love is what separates the men she tolerates from the man she would follow to the ends of the earth. So the next time she tests you, don't fold, don't beg, and don't block. Stand your ground, smile, and let her see the truth. Because the moment she realizes she can't break you, that's the moment she'll finally love you. Have you ever noticed how the people who get walked over in relationships are the ones who never say no, the ones who smile, agree, and swallow their feelings just to keep the peace? Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're not willing to confront, you're not ready to love. Because love without confrontation isn't love at all. It's fear dressed up as affection. Most guys don't get this. They think being agreeable is the key to keeping a woman happy, that avoiding conflict will keep her close. But avoiding conflict is the fastest way to destroy attraction. You think you're being nice, but what you're really doing is teaching her that you don't have a spine. And here's the brutal psychology. People do not respect those they can control. It's that simple. When you refuse to speak up, you're telling her, my comfort matters more than my truth. And the moment she senses that, you've already lost ground. A woman can't admire a man who hides behind comfort. She can only admire the man who's willing to risk her being upset in order to be honest. That's the paradox. Real closeness requires the courage to stand apart. If you avoid confrontation, you avoid authenticity. And if you avoid authenticity, you'll never have the deep connection you crave. Imagine this. You see behavior that crosses the line. Maybe she flirts in front of you. Maybe she starts treating you with less respect. You feel it in your gut. But instead of addressing it, you stay silent. You rationalize, it's not that bad. She's just in a mood. I don't want to make it worse. But every time you do that, a small piece of your self-respect dies. And self-respect is the foundation of attraction. Without it, the relationship rots from the inside out. Now, flip the script. Imagine you calmly call her out the first time it happens, not in anger, not in insecurity, but in certainty. You say, that's not how I live my life, and I'm not going to tolerate it. You don't argue. You don't explain yourself endlessly. You just set the standard. That's when everything changes. She might push back. She might test you. She might even get angry. But deep down, something shifts. She knows you're not afraid to lose her. And that makes you infinitely more attractive because confidence is magnetic. Here's the thing. Your willingness to confront doesn't just protect the relationship. It protects you. It keeps you from becoming resentful, bitter, and emotionally exhausted. And it sends a crystal clear message. I am here because I choose to be, not because I'm afraid to leave. Women can sense the difference. They know when you're staying because you're afraid, and they know when you're staying because you genuinely want to be there. One makes them lose respect, the other makes them feel safe. And safety is the soil where love grows. I'm not talking about picking fights or nitpicking every little thing. I'm talking about having the courage to hold your line when it matters. About making it clear that you are not a doormat, a pushover, or a man who trades his dignity for approval. Because here's the harsh truth. If you can't confront her when she's wrong, you can't protect her when life gets hard. And if you can't protect her, she will never fully trust you. That's the standard. That's the test. And most men fail it. Don't be one of them. Because at the end of the day, confrontation isn't about conflict. It's about respect. And respect is the root of desire. Lose that and you lose everything. Keep it and you become the man she'd never dare to take for granted. So when the moment comes, and it will, don't back down. Don't smooth it over. Don't play the coward. Look her in the eye, tell the truth, and let the chips fall where they may. Because the man who is unafraid to lose her is the man she'll fight to keep. Why do so many men lose the woman they thought they could never lose? It's not because they weren't good enough. It's because they stopped being the man she first fell for. And here's the truth nobody likes to hear. Attraction is not a one-time event. It's a daily choice, a daily standard, a daily battle to remain the man who inspires her. Most guys think once they've got her, the work is over. They relax, they get complacent, they stop leading, and little by little the respect, the desire, the fire, it all fades. Relationships die not in explosions, but in slow erosion. Every day you choose to coast instead of grow, you chip away at what made her choose you in the first place. You become predictable, stagnant, easy to figure out. And here's the science. Human attraction is wired for novelty and challenge. The brain craves it. When you stop challenging her emotionally and intellectually, when you stop challenging yourself, you remove the very stimulus that keeps her engaged. And you can't fake it. You can't act like a high-value man for long if you're not actually living it. She'll feel it in your energy, in the way you talk, in the way you carry yourself. Women are emotional lie detectors. They pick up on the subtle shifts before you even realize you've changed. And when she stops feeling inspired by you, she starts looking for inspiration somewhere else. But here's the beauty. You can reverse it. You can reignite attraction, not by trying to win her back with gifts or begging, but by becoming a man worth being with again. That means growth, relentless, unapologetic self-improvement, not for her, but for you. Because when you live with purpose, when you're chasing something bigger than her, when you're physically, mentally, and emotionally leveling up, she feels it. She sees the man who doesn't need her validation because he's too busy living a life that excites him. And that's magnetic. You've got to understand, love without respect is hollow, and respect without admiration won't last. She needs to feel like she's with a man who could walk away at any time, but chooses to stay because she's worth it. That's the razor's edge you must walk. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but comfort is the enemy of passion. If you want a relationship that stays alive, you have to keep showing up as the man who earned her in the first place, and then some. Let me be blunt. If she's lost attraction, it's not because of what she did. It's because of what you allowed. You allowed yourself to drop your standards. You allowed yourself to stop leading. You allowed comfort to replace challenge. And the second you take responsibility for that, you take back your power. I'm not saying be perfect. I'm saying be in the arena. Show her through your actions that you're always becoming more. Challenge her, inspire her, lead her, but also challenge yourself more than you challenge anyone else. That's when she looks at you and thinks, I can't believe I get to be with him. That's when she brags about you to her friends, not because of what you bought her, but because of who you are. And if you think this is about playing games, you've missed the point entirely. This is about authenticity, about becoming so solid in who you are that you don't need her to love you to feel complete. But because you're complete, she can't help but love you. So stop asking, how do I keep her? And start asking, how do I keep becoming the man she'd fight to keep? Because the moment you stop growing, you start dying. And if you're dying, so is the relationship. The only way to make her love you forever is to never stop giving her new reasons to. What's the single fastest way to destroy a relationship? It's not cheating, it's not lying, it's neglect. Quiet, invisible neglect, the slow death that comes when you stop paying attention, when you stop making her feel seen, heard, and valued. You think love will carry you, that the bond you once had will hold on forever. But love without consistent investment is like a fire you never feed. It doesn't explode, it just fades. Until one day, there's nothing left but cold ashes. And here's the brutal truth. Attraction dies when presence dies. Women don't fall out of love overnight. They fall out of love when the man they're with disappears emotionally while still standing right in front of them. That's when she stops looking at you the same way, not because she doesn't want to, but because she can't. Respect and desire are built in the little moments, in the daily choices, in the way you look at her like she's still the woman you do anything to win. If you stop doing that, she stops feeling it. And when she stops feeling it, the countdown begins. Relationships aren't maintained by grand gestures. They're maintained by consistent truth, and truth requires presence. It requires you to notice her body language, to listen when she speaks, to sense the unspoken. That's not weakness, that's strength. Because here's the thing, emotional connection isn't a feminine need, it's a human need. Men starve for it too, they just don't always admit it. And when you withhold it, whether out of laziness, distraction, or ego, you're not just hurting her, you're hollowing out the foundation of your own relationship. Every time you choose your phone over her, every time you avoid hard conversations because you don't want drama, every time you withdraw instead of leaning in, you're telling her she's not worth the effort. You may not mean it, but she feels it anyway, and feelings drive behavior far more than logic does. But when you choose to show up, really show up, you reignite the bond, not by trying to be perfect, not by never arguing, but by being present enough to resolve things instead of letting them rot. Present enough to look her in the eye and say, I hear you, I see you, I'm here. That level of presence is rare, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. People underestimate how much safety, attraction, and devotion come from knowing someone is consistently there, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. And yes, it takes work. It takes courage to stay engaged when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. But the reward is unmatched. You don't just keep her love, you deepen it. You create a relationship that's unshakable because it's built on the truth that she can trust you to stay. You can't outsource this. You can't fake it. You can't buy it with gifts or trips or romantic weekends if the day-to-day presence is missing. Those things are nice, but they're meaningless without the core. And the core is you. Showing up when it's hard, staying when it's messy, listening when it's uncomfortable, That's when she looks at you with that rare mixture of love and admiration. That's when she feels lucky to have you. That's when she'll fight for you because she knows you'd fight for her. So ask yourself, are you present in your relationship or are you just physically there? Are you truly invested or are you coasting? Because if you're coasting, you're drifting. And if you're drifting, you're losing her. Whether you realize it or not, the cure is simple but not easy. Show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because the second you stop showing up, you start showing her the door. And one day she'll walk through it. Here's the mic drop truth you need to remember. Love doesn't leave people. Neglect